I didn't even press go live on YouTube. That was silly. So I've been live on Twitch for this amount of time, but not YouTube. Anyways, we keep going. Don't want you. Can you be moved out to like there? You can. Cool. Alright, back to this. Think there's a little bit of vignette that I don't like as much that came from the preset, but it's not the best, but it's not going to win any awards for sure, but for the sake of it, we'll do it. Actually, what I do need to do first is export the normal photo first, since this is going to be part of the video, so we can do the swipe transition, so we can make it from unedited to edited in the POV. Exports. Split POV. And then we can re-add the preset. Look, I'm happy with it, just presetting at this point. I think I like the one with the bird in it a bit more, so we'll get rid of that. And have this squiz through the presets and see. I think I like this one, so we'll start with this. A little bit of exposure, a little bit of contrast. Highlights don't need to be as high, as low, sorry. And highlight and shadows can be a little bit lower. A little bit more contrast. Maybe a little bit more shadows after that. Normally I like to just fling the sliders around just to see what they actually do and kind of go from there, since I'm not then I didn't tell you what I didn't do. I didn't export the original. So if we copy settings, then reset all the effects. Export this. Yeah, export that, and then paste the edit settings back on. Done. And then we move on. Split had super cool Romanesque type architecture, which was really cool. And you can kind of see in here, there were dudes dressed as Romans. The first one's better because we don't have this dude's head in the way. So let's go that one. It's not exactly straight, so I kind of tilted a bit. I think I was in a little bit of a rush for some sort of reason. Where are we? I like my thirds. Where are the thirds? There. And Lightroom normally has a pretty good auto straighten feature to it. Let's see how that looks. Still looks a bit cockeyed, so let's do that. Try to line that up with the center. Yeah. It's not the best photo, but I think some good ones are coming up. To kind of keep with the same kind of feel with all the photos that we've taken, I'm going to be kind of using the same S-type preset to give the colors kind of the same. It's a little bit too yellow here from what I can see. Let's turn down the saturation just a little bit of the orange, and it kind of looks like a little bit more natural. Cool. Maybe add a little bit of contrast. Yeah, that looks good. Quite happy with the shadows being like that. Maybe we'll do a linear gradient of like a shadow going up. If my computer wants to do what it wants to do. Yeah, struggling a bit. So if we put it down the exposure a little bit, kind of, not all the way, but we're kind of able to, only by a little bit, get rid of the noise of all the people, kind of focus on the building. Should export that too. Cool, so now it's just the alleyway shots. Not that interesting, to be honest. I do kind of like this one though. If we crop out this dude, maybe sit about there. Yeah, it's simple but kind of nice. So let's. Oh, sorry. Let's have a look at. Oh my god. Prague Old City looks good, so does the nature. I like that. I like that a lot. If we undo just quickly, I think it needs to be turned just like a little bit. Yeah, so kind of like that ground floor is level, whereas the rest can kind of do what it wants. We'll export that. whack that one back on because it looks cool. Right. Let's keep going. Right, if we make it through all of these photos in split, it shouldn't take too long. Hi George, how you doing, mate? If we make it through this, I might play some Borderlands a bit later, because I would like to play some Borderlands. A little bit of exposure. Contrast is kind of nice. What I think I would like to do is get rid of the clarity. I'm not a huge fan of increasing the clarity on the photos. It kind of makes it a little bit jarring, if you know what I mean. So normally I don't like to increase it a lot, if any. Cool. Happy with that one. Export that. That's kind of a nothing shot. Same with that one. This girl was making pasta. Just in kind of like a fun action-esque type shot. These were kind of nothings as well. I did kind of like the this is in Split. I should say that. Split in Croatia. How do I add that to? Split Croatia. Split photo. Yes. Yes, indeed, sir. Pretty sure it was like 38 degrees the whole day when I was running around and my GoPro overheated. Yeah, it overheated. The battery swelled. It got swelled up and got stuck inside it. And then I wasn't able to use it the rest of the trip. And like it was our first day, not our first day, but like it was our first city that we've stopped off at, and my GoPro overheated. Yeah, not very nice. Not very nice indeed. How do I... Quick actions. There we go. But now I can't... It's fine, but I should also have it on the title, right? That makes sense. That makes sense in my brain. I just don't know how to do it. I'm a professional. Ah, okay. Split. Yeah. Done. I don't know if the get shit done is a little bit on the edge of if Twitch likes it or not, but I'm doing it. Twitch can suck a big old fat fungal toe. I shouldn't say that. No, I love Twitch. We're going to what we're gonna do is we're gonna crop this down just a little bit to get rid of this. The whatchamacallit, the roof. The roof on the bottom left corner there kind of adds a little bit visual distraction where I kind of don't want it to be. Like the continuation of these photos, not the photos, the windows. Might just try for the sake of it editing this one from scratch without a preset, just for the sakes of it. So what I normally try like to do to begin with, a little bit of exposure adding. I normally quite like high contrast photos. It's just me. Highlights, there's not much happening. Shadows, there's not much happening either actually. It's kind of like a flat kind of image. If we make the temperature a little bit warmer, it brings out that yellowish color. Same with the vibrance and saturation. You can... Whoa. Whoa. Brilliant. Yeah, I don't know how to respond to that one, Harry. I read it as bumming Izzy, not bunnin. Yeah, that's a bit nicer. Right, back to this. Let's add maybe a little bit of vignette. Actually, better yet, let's add linear gradients of some lower exposure on the bottom left and rights. Just a wee bit. Brilliant. I'm happy with that. And what we can do is from the top, what we might do is do the same, but instead of going down, we go up kind of to show that that's where the light is coming from. Like it's only little, but you can kind of see how it kind of draws your attention towards the middle. That's what this is, towards the middle. Yeah, that's just it. I think that'll do, donkey. So we'll export that. And this is kind of on the way. It's like one of the main big alleyways in Split. No, that I found that was close to the water. Water? So let's pick one of these 4 to edit. Definitely not that one or that one, so we can delete them. Oh my god. What is going on? What do you mean it's quieter? Quieter than... As in, my voice is quieter, or the music is quieter, or there's not as much people as you thought? Yeah. I think it... What day did we get to Split? It was like a Monday. Yeah, so it was a Monday. So like it wasn't super duper busy. I could be wrong if it's like... I could definitely be wrong if it's not the main alleyway, but alas. It felt like it, because it was like it was just a big ass boy. Right, export this for the video. Need to remember to do that. Then can use it as a base. Shadow highlights can come back up a little bit, increase contrast a bit, whereas the shadows, there should be there's a decent amount of vignette, which don't need. Problem with the vignette is you can kind of see if you do it all the way, it does it all the way around the photo, where it doesn't necessarily make sense a lot of the time if you got sky up above. So what I'd normally like to do is what we did on the last one, is do linear gradients on the bottom left and right. Not a lot, but just like enough to kind of focus your eye towards the middle. Doesn't need to be a lot to get the kind of like the effect that you're going for, but like even like that looks better to me in my unprofessional brain. You could if you really wanted to as well do a linear gradient, but then there should be a way to minus. Wait, doing this the wrong way. So if we get rid of that linear gradient, we can add a mask to the sky. Lightroom sky detection is normally pretty good too. Useful for when you want to, so it shows up red where it thinks the sky is, and it's done a pretty damn good job. So we can increase the exposure of that just like a little bit. We could even add a linear gradient onto this mask. So if we, that did not do what I wanted it to. That one, get rid of that. Anyway, it does make it look like it's Italy, but it kind of did look like Italy in a weird way. Like the colors of the city looks like it felt like Italy, even though I haven't been to Italy. Yes. Why is that not working for me? Cool. Happy with that one. This is kind of like the main walkway along where the water is. Lots of restaurants, lots of boats over yonder. Don't necessarily feel like these are good enough photos to warrant editing, but I'll export them anyway. I think that one. Pretty sure I've taken a PG shot in every country that I've been in, so I would like to edit this one. Eventually I'll be able to have a PGs of the World book. Why was your Venice trip a bad trip? Yes. I reckon you should. I reckon you should just do the Interrailing thing and just send it. Man, I fucking love Pidgeys. I want to train one. And like I've been getting reels about how to train Pidgeys. Like there's a dude that shows you how to feed them and wash them and take care of them. Yeah, I should, but I also shouldn't. They really are. Like we trained them, and like they helped win wars and deliver vital messages to kings and shit. And then now they're just street fodder. Like what's the go with that? Venice was bad because it was March and raining. Yeah, that sounds like shit. Or a skill issue. Definitely a skill issue. This is a good pigeon. I agree, Tim. It's a damn good pigeon. Alright. He has a really cool red eye. So maybe if we crop in a little bit, kind of to accentuate. I think I want to keep his whole shadow in frame, which should be good. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. Let's export that. Look, if we make it to, let's say we make it to where these cats are. We'll play some Borderlands after that because I want to play some Borderlands. Yes, I am from. I'm Aussie. Thanks, Lick Bricks. That's a fun name, Lick Bricks. Yeah, I know, right? Pidgeys of the World as like a photo book. Insane. Right, so this is just some SeaWorld, some water shots of Split. I think I like this one, so don't think I need to do any cropping on that. So we'll export that. Probably doesn't need much editing done to it. If I ever get a New York Times, even if I'm on the list for some reason. Yeah. I highly doubt it, but maybe eventually. Maybe eventually. Let's see what hard work. No, it is not in Australia. It's in Croatia, actually. Now that I think about it, I do want to crop this. I want to get rid of the bricks. Yeah, I think that looks better. Though saying that, horizon isn't level. Yeah, we just came back on a recent trip with the missus, and it was really nice. You like the bricks in there? Yeah. Now that I say it, normally I quite like bricks in the photos, but kind of like there's a visual distraction of what we want it to be in this one, I have to say. So let's export this. Eventually, I accidentally hiked up a mountain this day as well, which probably didn't help the GoPro overheating. I just found my way to some stairs and just kept climbing. And then I found myself up a mountain. Okay. There's some bricks. There's some pictures with some bricks coming up soon, so you can lick them if you want to. Right. Back to editing this. It honestly does, and it was like 38 degrees. I was sweating my tits off. Yeah. What can you do? Right. There's a reason that this one is one of my favorites. It's just kind of makes nice colors of blues and yellows. So happy with that. Call that a day. And this is pictures of nothing really. I think I was trying something weird with the camera. So let's delete that. The EOS R10. I don't know a lot about the Canon ecosystem. I'm a Sony shooter myself, but honestly, doesn't really matter what camera you get, as long as it can shoot photos and has an interchangeable lens, in my opinion. As long as it can shoot photos, you'll learn from it. The specs of it doesn't really matter. Just go out and shoot photos. That's the main thing. Like, you're gonna make it work with what you have. The newest and best cameras and lenses don't really matter per se. Like, the jump from going from your phone to a normal camera is vastly different. Just the act of holding a camera, framing it up, using the viewfinder if you have one, changing your settings and whatnot. So much different than using a phone camera. Just getting the basics down of using ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. That's all you really want as a first camera, being able to change them easily and yeah. Like, it takes a while to get used to the mechanics of it all, but if you just go out and shoot all the time, you'll learn. It's the best way to do it. I ended up watching way too much photo YouTube when I first started. Yeah, manual mode is scary, but it is also really useful. When I first started, I forced myself to be in manual mode so I could learn what each of the settings kind of did in a weird way. Not in a weird way, but like it forces you to learn what the settings do, and then once you kind of grasp the whole idea of it, then you can kind of go into the like aperture priority or auto mode, depending on what you want to do. So like now, like once I've gotten a grasp of all those things, I'm actually in aperture priority most of the time. So like rather than full manual mode, just makes it easier when you're out and about shooting. Anyway, so most of these are the exact same, just slightly different. I think I was in burst mode for some reason, but you can kind of see that the stairs aren't exactly horizontal. So we can crop in a little bit. Let's see what that looks like. Hey Hugo, how you doing, mate? What's happening? I think I like that. I think that looks good to the eyeballs. So we'll export that for the video, and then we'll edit it. Where was, I think the Prague Old City. No. I have shot on film. I do have. Like, film is a completely different beast. But yes, fun little film camera. The missus got me for Christmas, Olympus OM2N. I need to use it more. I need to use it more, and I think I have like 3 rolls of film that just needs to get developed. Money and time. So it's going to be like a little Christmas present because I don't remember what I took on them. Alright, so back to this. I'm going to add a little bit of texture. Clarity back down to nothing. Add a little bit of more dehaze. Add a little bit of contrast, exposure back up a little bit to counteract the dehazing and contrastness. And I think I like that. Maybe a bit of vignette actually would be good on this one. Yeah. Yeah, film to pick up today. Wicked. Absolutely wicked. Is Lightroom worth it? Yes, and also no. I wish I could get away from the Adobe suite because Adobe sucks balls, but Lightroom is good. Like it's the, I guess it's the industry standard for a reason. I've thought about going to Capture One or some other ones, but I've I learnt on this. I learnt how to kind of. I say learnt. I haven't really learnt much, but it's. I know where all the things are on this, and it will take time to go back and relearn a new program, which is more often than not is worth doing. But there Adobe do have like there's a Lightroom app that is free on your phone, which is basically the same as it on your computer, but on your phone. Pretty sure that's free, or there is a free version of it, which is pretty good. It kind of gets you 60% of the way. Yeah, it is slow. Like I wish, and like it's expensive too. Oh, wicked! Yeah, then you're laughing. Yeah, just keep at it, and you'll come good. Right. So what are we doing here? I don't remember what the point of this was. I think I just like the colors of this building, which you can't really see because it's so dark, which is useful. I don't. Nah. Cool. Right, so we have 3 photos of the exact same kind of picture, but the first one is probably the best one, because we got this dude in the way. That lady's still there, but I think that's fine. So we can delete these 2. Don't know if a crop or it needs much in the way of I think I just want to see what the cropped in look without that lady there looks like. Compared to that. I think I prefer that. So the reason I'm doing the cropping and kind of stuff first is when I end up releasing like the POV video of the reels and stuff. It is some nice bricks, isn't it? So if I export the complete original first and then crop and edit it, and then I want to do like a wipe transition for the video, it looks a little bit jarring when the photo goes from something to something else, whereas the transition of an edit looks nicer if it's the same crop, if that makes sense. Eventually we will be doing some editing, some video editing of this kind of stuff, maybe probably next week. Pardon me. Yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do these bricks kind of give? Like they, like those are good bricks. Those are good bricks too. Um, big fan of that line, that column of bricks. Um, yeah, so let's export this one. I don't know if I did it already or not, but we're doing it again. Um, that firewall is a 10 out of 10. Insane. Insane brickage, that is. Cool. Whack the contrast up a little bit. Highlights, shadows back down. Exposure up a little bit. Maybe a little bit cooler. Yeah, like whenever we look at bricks from now on, this is the brick that we have to compare it to. Right. So what image file do I use? So I shoot in RAW. It's just a setting on the camera. It kind of has more information on the back end in the settings and stuff. Yeah, RAW is definitely worth it. Only if you're going to do processing like what we're doing now. If you just want to take photos and for your own sakes, like if you're not gonna edit it as such, just shooting in JPEG is absolutely fine. It's not worth the trouble of going it through and editing it if you're just gonna have it for memories. Like, you're able to bring out more information from underexposed and overexposed stuff, if that makes sense. So like in a JPEG, this kind of dark area here, it would be really hard to get some of the details back. So particularly in this area here, so the shadows. So if I bring the shadows all the way up, you can see how much detail there is left on that kind of side. To be fair, it looks quite nice, to be honest. Whereas in a JPEG, it would just still be kind of like a dark kind of blob, if that makes sense. Like there wouldn't be, if we zoom in, like you can still see a little bit of funkiness going on, but there would be way more funkiness in this area if it was a JPEG. I think for this particular photo, we want the shadows up just like a little bit. We still want it to be dark because the sunlight obviously isn't hitting that. So if it was like that, it kind of looks a bit too fake. So maybe sit about there. I think I'm happy with that. Yeah, wicked. Yeah, it'll make sense once you start doing it. Like I've only been doing this for a year and a half, and just by going through the processes of it, you get better at it. like anything, the more you do it, the better you get. Like you can watch as much YouTube videos as you can, but nothing beats just doing the shit. Doing the shit. I think I was struck. So there's a fountain here. It kind of looks like you've got the I've got your thumb, but it's pissing out water. Oh no, I've got your nose. It's pissing out water though. Look. It sure does. It was hard to kind of get a photo of this that kind of made it look good. So I think I gave up walking around after a while. But I think in the video, I talked about it a little bit. So I'm going to export it just to show you in the video later. That makes sense. This one is the same alleyway, but on the main alleyway I was talking about earlier, but on the, pardon me, on the opposite side. So looking down. A lot busier now, because I think I walked around for a bit. Think I like this one the most. Kind of happy with that, with the composition so far. Though that is not in the center now that I look at it. So maybe let's do that. I think what's throwing me off is the flag isn't in the center of that as well. It kind of makes it look a little bit funny. But it is what it is. So the skin tones of this is a little bit out of whack, but we can fix that. We can fix anything. We can fix anything if we try hard enough. So what we have here is the colors of the skin tones are a little bit too orange, but we also like the orangeness of the bricks over here. If we desaturize the orange, it gets rid of all the orange. So we might just leave it there for now, and then potentially we'll add a mask on this side to bring out those oranges of the buildings that we like, kind of what we've done so far. See, the skin tones look a little bit more natural now, rather than the like oompa loompa'd. Bricks on the left. Yeah, you don't want to be licking those bricks. They're a little bit, they're moldy. Hello, Jack. Make pretty? I am making pretty. I'm trying my bestest. So gonna make the bricks on the right more orangey. So let's add a mask to that. Yeah, bricks on the right though, good bricks. There's a little bit of black mold there, but it's better. What we might do is try a linear gradient over there. And then down here, where are we? Increase the temperature of it a little bit. Increase the saturation. And then if we select the color of that, we can make it red if we wanted to, but we obviously don't want to. So let's increase the saturation. It's not doing what I want it to. Let's pick there maybe. Oh, it's already been selected. Turns out I don't know what I'm doing. So that's fine. But I think that'll do. For what this photo is, I don't want to edit it to 100% completion because it's not worth the time. Apart from the practice of doing it, not worth the time. The yellow gonna be Trump in a minute? True. Oh dear. Think these are kind of nothing photos, but I am excited for these ones. I was in burst mode. I think these guys were holding plants by memory. Some nice silhouettes. I think a few of the last ones look the nicest. So, lick bricks. This is probably a good photo to show you the kind of like what is this? How the raw photos can kind of bring back detail. So let's pick one of these where we're gonna, I think, let's say this one. We'll start with this one and kind of go from there. If we bring up the exposure, like you see how much detail comes back? Like it looks like it's just in daylight now. Obviously this isn't as good, but in like if you just shot a JPEG, the darkness would just stay as darkness, if that makes sense. I think I like the silhouette-ness of this photo, so we're going to keep it as that. Bring up. I don't know how I want to do this, because we want to bring the highlights down. Yeah, super duper powerful. Bring the highlights down a bit, and like you can even see it in the highlights. So like if we left it at there, everything is kind of like super bright when obviously in real life it is like that, but photography sometimes isn't real life. So let's bring those highlights down. Kind of, it brings back that rich color to it. Add a bit of contrast. What I would like is to kind of like accentuate these two somehow. How we do that, I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do that. We might need to increase the brightness of around them. So might be able to do some masking shenaniganry. Normally the subject is pretty, Lightroom's subject detection is pretty good. Hasn't done the best job in this one, mainly because it's so dark. So let's do a manual mask. Let's delete that. So what our goal is to brighten up everything except these two gentlemen's holding plants and stuff. So what we can do is maybe do a linear gradient to begin with, something like that. Then what you can do is minus a brush. So now, oh god, let's zoom in a little bit. And slowly start brushing out the people. Doesn't need to be pixel perfect. Not super duper worried. Thanks, dude. I don't know if this edit is going to work the way I want it to, but it's more of a see if I can do what I'm picturing in my brain. Still learning the ins and outs of Lightroom myself, but just want to see if it looks good, what I'm imagining in my brain. Why does that look so weird? Oops. Right. Let's just see what happens. Ooh, it's kind of doing what I want it to. He does have a weird arm. Let's change. Move the gradient up a bit to like there, say. I didn't even see that guy there. Didn't know he existed. Anyway. I don't know if I like that any better than what the original one was. If we reset the exposure, I think a little bit of brightness is good. They're saying that if we take away I like the added brightness in this kind of area, but less so on the sides. So if we take away the mask on the left and the right, I think it'll look a little bit better. So all we're doing is clicking the minus and then linear gradient. It is, Jack. It is where the cool kids hang out. I figured out how to multi-stream now. They're saying that Twitch seems to be going a lot better than the YouTubes, so that's good. Right, back to what we were doing. So, yeah, I think I'm happy with that. We didn't mess with the colors per se. You actually found me on your For You page on YouTube. Wicked. Love to hear that. What did you see? Did you see the reel that I made yesterday? Is that how you found it? Because if so, I'm glad that worked. It was a fun little video to make. It was fun. Right, so let's get out of the maskingness and go back to overall picture. Increase that a little bit. Think if we increase the temperature a little bit, kind of brings out the orange yellowiness. Yeah. Don't really need. Yeah, fair enough. So like, I don't think I'll ever want to do camera reviews and shit. Like, as much as people enjoy watching it, I don't want to add to that kind of space, if that makes sense. Like, there's already so many people doing it. Plus, I don't know that much about it, so I don't know that much about it, so it doesn't make sense that I'm explaining shit that I don't know about. Saying that, I don't know much shit about this, so who knows? Anyway. I guess I know less about the whole camera sphere. Yeah, cameras are hella pricey. I barely afforded the one that I have now. Yeah, I don't have the the cash to buy every camera under the sun to review them. Can't do that. The Dicebox video should still be there on... Pretty sure it's still on YouTube. I do know what I'm on about. Only a little bit. Because that Dicebox video has gotten a lot of views recently. I think it was one of my first ones that I made. And it just keeps picking up views. Where are we? Yeah, the Dice Tray video is still up. Or the short is, but the long video isn't up. I can put it back on. I think it's still there somewhere. I might have just put it on private. Where is it? It is private. For the giggles, I'll make it public again, just for you. Like, I think in my brain I wanted to be... I wanted it to be just photography, but now I think I just don't care. It can be whatever I want it to be. I know, boring photo man. Like if the skits and stuff, they're private. Maybe we make that a Twitch goal. You can maybe look at the old skits that I used to make, like a follower goal. Yeah. Real question, pineapples on pizza? Hell yes. Pineapples on everything. Pineapples on pizza, pineapples on burgers, pineapples by itself. Brilliant. How about you? Pineapples. Do you guys like pineapples on things? I will say hi, Jack. She says hi. Yes. Like pizza or pineapple on I was about to say pizza on a burger, but pineapple on a burger is so fucking good. Like grilled, when it gets all caramelized, so fucking good. It's a sin. Who are we sinning against? the pizza god, the Italians. Right. So I think I actually quite like this photo. The framing of it is quite nice. While we delve into pizza madness, we can straighten it up a bit. Which one shall we? No, they're all the same, really. So let's crop in a little bit. Make the building straight. Still doesn't look right. Alright, Jack. Talk to you soon, mate. Enjoy your sleep. No. Not fuck the Italians. Just we like changing their things. They created a good base for us to change what we want to change. Yeah, that looks better. So let's export that. And then what we can do, I really like the framing of this because the buildings kind of frame it, and also the poles frame the building, and the building that's framing the building. That was a set of words. So let's go back. I just really like the colors of this particular preset. It gives the summery vibes, which I quite like. Yeah, a good base to edit from, just like the Italians had a good base of pizza for us to add pineapples to. Linking it all together, boyos. So let's increase the exposure, up the contrast a little bit. Maybe decrease the exposure a little bit now. We don't want the clarity to be too much. Maybe a bit of texture would be nice. Kind of makes things a little bit sharper in a way. Yes. For some reason, my button to show the before and the original photo isn't working. So that's before. That's after. Wicked. Happy with that. How do I... Can I change preferences? I would like for my before and after button to work, but it is not. So, the cool thing about Lightroom is you can copy the edit settings. Because these two photos are vaguely similar with the same kind of lighting, what you can do is copy the edit settings down there and then paste it onto these ones, onto new photos, and it copies and pastes all the settings. which is good. What I don't like is how kind of sharp these lines are at the moment. I think that's coming from the texture. A little bit less clarity. Looks a little bit better. Cool. Actually, fuck it. I remember taking this photo. Like I was kneeling by these little balls for ages, actually trying to wait for no cars to come, and no people. I don't know if I actually ended up getting. I think that's the best one. Like, dude on an electric scooter. You can just see him coming in right there. Actually, that one is probably the best. I don't think we need to crop or do anything to it, but let's just see what happens if we paste the settings. Kind of brings color to the mix. Let's have a look at some of the other presets, see what that kind of does to it. I agree, you kind of look like a goofball waiting around for the right moment to appear, but the thing that always pops into my mind is you're never going to see these people that think you're a goofball ever again. Like, especially if you're in a different country, you're never going to see them ever again. So it doesn't really matter, does it? These bricks, yeah, agreed, 3 out of 10. These bricks could still be better. They're obviously a new addition to these bricks here. Yeah, you do feel like a goofball, but it just comes with the territory, I guess. Like, you get used to it. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. Onwards and upwards. Oh, we've made it to the cap. I said if we made it to the cap, we might play some Borderlands. What are your guys' thought on... We'll edit these cat photos. Look at him. What a cute little mama. Thoughts on stopping photo editing and playing some Borderlands? thoughts, comments, concerns? Or do we just want to keep editing photos? Because I'm down for either, really. You're blurry, mister. Let's just export that one for the POV video later. I think before we edit any of the cat ones, I don't remember exactly what I was saying during the videos, so we might just leave it. Leave it as such. Leave it for now. Might just continue editing photos. I'm in the mood for it. Alright, lick bricks. Yeah, go to bed. Especially you have work or something in the morning. For sure. For sure, go to bed. Well, thank you for coming along and chatting. It's been great to meet you. I'll be back on. I'll be streaming again next Monday, 11 a.m. I'll be here. Good night, bud. Sleep well. It's alright. Even if you're not, it's absolutely fine. If you're not here next week, week after that, it's fine. Right. Don't know what I want to do with these ones. Export that. That looks pretty cool. Let's see what the other presets look like. The Sunny Bridge, the Park Bridge looks nice. Kind of like the greeny greens. The greens are definitely green. Change the hue just a little bit. dehaze doesn't need to be on. Just tweaking things a little bits here and there. And that'll do. Right. What we might do is just before we... I think... This is the start of when I started to accidentally mountain climb. No, here it is. So, let's edit up to there, and then we can save the accidental mountain climb story for next week. Because that was a time. I think because this one's so dark, I don't like it actually. Kind of like a dark silhouette alleyway again. Don't really like it, but let's fuck around with this one. I know there will be some vignettes. Let's get rid of that to begin with. Messing around the S-curve a little bit. Don't really know what I'm doing with that just yet, but... So shadows are already quite up. Yeah, it's not bad. Not the bad, good size. Right, so here we are at the start of the accidental mountain hike climb. Might end it here. So, thank you all for coming along and watching. We'll continue off with this next week at Monday. 11 a.m. GMT, and yeah, come back next week and I'll tell you the story of how I accidentally mountain climbed up a mountain in Croatia. Love you lots, and yeah,